You are tuning in to Ramble On podcast with Roomel and Derek.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the show. We're glad to have everyone on with us today. If this is your first time listening, thanks for tuning in. For those of you joining us again, thanks for your continued support, and we are glad to have you on this journey with us.
The Ramble On podcast is produced every week and airs Sunday evenings at 8 o'clock p.m. A description of our show can be found at www.theuntitledco.com.
Make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and share with all your friends. You can also stay updated with us on Instagram at _untitled_co. Link will be in the description below.
Now let's get into the show. Here are your hosts, Roomel and Derek.
We decided to bring on a special guest to talk about what's going on in his life and the impact he's having in college, and his career in sports. So just to introduce Aaron Smith, Waynesburg University student here with us today. I'm glad to have you on the show today.
Hey, thanks. A little bit about myself. I'm a senior criminal justice major, treasurer of the CJ Club, senior baseball player. Right now, I'm focusing a little bit on the polar plunge happening December 10th for the Special Olympics. Got that underway. Getting ready to finish up on that. Headed to Pittsburgh, jump in the cold-ass river.
Tell them a little bit about that, man.
All right, so the polar plunge is basically with law enforcement. So what they do is they gather a bunch of money for the state of Pennsylvania for the Special Olympics. And then what they do is they take that money, they donate it, and then they all kind of like pledge that they're going to jump in a cold body of water. And that's what they do. And it's just like a big event. All law enforcement's there.
Yeah.
People travel around just to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And as of right now, I think after I checked, we were around $2,000 for our CJ Club. Last year we had $5,000, so we're a little bit below what we want to be. But some kids still have to pay their money, so hopefully we can get around there this last week.
Mm-hmm.
But so we just hang out, tailgate, get to meet a lot of law enforcement officers. Build some bridges for maybe after graduation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun. And then this upcoming Wednesday, we're doing like a little party for the Special Olympics of Greene County. So they'll be on campus. So we got a DJ, we got pizza, we got a bunch of stuff.
Right.
That's it. It's just giving back.
Have you done this before?
This is my first year doing it as an officer of the CJ Club. Last year I helped out a little bit just as a member of the CJ Club. But when I was elected as treasurer dealing with the money, I have a lot more say on what gets bought and what doesn't and how we spend that money. So I make sure it's going to the right place. And as myself, 5 months left after this finals week. Then I'm hopefully being in the correctional institutions somewhere in the U.S. or worst comes to worst, landing in the U.S. Capitol Police in D.C. Unless one of you listeners have job opportunities, you're more than welcome to shoot them at us. But,
hook my man up, man. He's looking for some work.
But other than that, just lifting, hitting, running, working.
Getting ready for baseball season?
Yes, sir. Baseball season. We're going to have a good, talented, young group of kids mixed with them older group of kids that knows what it's like winning. So hopefully we can leave a legacy. It was a little bit sour being just missing the conference playoffs. And then the year before that, our sophomore year, coming in third place, not able to finish after going into second, as a second seeded team, winning the first day, then losing the second day straight out. And hopefully just beat W&J. Just beat W&J.
That's the goal right there.
It is.
Yeah, man. Tell us a little bit about your childhood, where you come from. Tell us about your town.
I come from Altoona, Pennsylvania, about 2.5 hours east from here. It's a rather big city. I grew up more in a poverty-stricken area. A lot of my friends now are in jail. I have a best friend that we had growing up. He's in prison for murder right now in New Mexico. What's sad is that in 7th grade, he was the 7th ranked point guard in the country. And he decided whenever he came to school to bring a BB gun, and it's kind of been all downhill from there, getting into the jail systems, doing all that stuff. And now ultimately he's not going to be able to come back out or do any of that stuff. So other than that, I mean, just growing up in a rough neighborhood, a one-parent household, happened to help raise my little sister. mom working 2 jobs. Other than that, but I kind of kept my head on straight, knowing I didn't want to be there, so I could get to college, and then hopefully from there. That's why I want to move. You'd probably settle down with my girlfriend now. Move somewhere where she feels comfortable. Get out of the state of PA, go experience a new life around. Build my own life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many siblings you have?
I have 1 biological sibling, and then I have 3 step siblings.
Okay.
Yeah, my stepdad now, he's pretty cool.
You the oldest?
Out of the siblings, like my biological siblings, yes, out of my step siblings, I'm the 3rd oldest. Marchess is the oldest. She has my niece and nephew. They're twins. And then my stepbrother RJ is 6 months older than I am, and he has my niece Adeline. And then I have a 18-year-old stepsister, 19-year-old stepsister, one of the two, and she has my nephew Maxon. And then I have my little sister who just turned 13 this past August. So she's a little one. She's a baby.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the environment. Being in a single parent household to having your stepdad come along into your life, and having many other siblings. Come along,
like we talked about yesterday, how quick I got a shower from when you called me to come up, and you learn to move quickly.
Right.
You learn to fight for your own, especially growing up in a 3-bedroom household. We were sharing rooms and had to share a bathroom. But it brings you closer. I mean, I know if I picked up the phone and called either any one of them, they drive the 2.5 hours. My stepbrother living in Mechanicsburg, which is 4 hours away near Harrisburg. So I know that we've gotten close, especially now with our little nieces and nephew. But my stepdad, he's done 20 years in the military, 20 plus. So he brought like that structure that I didn't have growing up, and he's taught me like valuable lessons and stuff like that. Like him, and whenever I'm home, he asked for me to help him like fix his bike or stuff like that. So like teaching me things that I wasn't taught from a male figure growing up. Just ultimately responsibility. That's been the biggest thing. Since I came in my freshman year till now, like learned how to handle things and man up in a sort of sense.
Now, when you were younger in Altoona, what made you seeing, that your friends, you see a lot of them going to jail or stuff happening, bad things happening to them, and just being in growing up in a bad area, like what made you just want to say, I want better this and I want to get out of here?
Straight up, 4th grade, I got suspended from school because of them, and then I realized like this is not what I want to be doing.
That's a pretty young age to realize.
Yeah, my point, and that like what I got suspended for was like bullcrap, because I got guilt by association because I was there and I didn't stop it. I got in trouble because I was like, I'm the same way that I am now. Like I'm friendly, like anyone can talk to me, and very timid, very hard to get angry. And I got suspended for a stupid reason. Tried to fight it and it didn't work. And then from there, at that point on, I'm like, I don't want you guys to get me in trouble. And then 5th grade, the same friends I was hanging out with, we were walking to a birthday party, and they started mouthing off to kids, and then I ended up getting jumped at the age of 11 by high school kids, and they took my birthday money, and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. So like I would just either stay in my house or go somewhere and find something. If that meant walking across the city to a friend's house that I knew that I wouldn't be getting in trouble with, then that's what it meant.
It's definitely going to take a lot of courage to come out of a situation like that and want better for yourself and actually make it happen.
Especially like when in class, whenever we talk about like your environment makes you who you are. Like I want to be known for someone that didn't go into that environment. That took a stand and said, I don't want to do this. But it helped having like family members that like urged me to go do things. I think if I never found sports, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. Because that you had to make grades to play sports, and that all kind of fell in together. So shout out to sports.
Speaking about sports, tell us some of the sports that you played as a
young man. In junior high and high school, I played basketball, volleyball, and baseball. Volleyball was more or less, I was tall, and my coach thought I'd be good at it, and I ended up starting for 2 years. I only played for 2 years, but I ended up starting for 2 years. And then football in the fall. So growing up, it was more or less not having time. So you go from one sport to one sport to one sport to one sport. And then always... You could tell though, like it takes that effect on you when you just go from sport to sport to sport, because you don't have that time off to like just take back and relax. But also then I know mentally I had to be on my game for homework, so I could keep grades up to pass eligibility standards. But it wasn't until senior year where I just focused more on football, because that's what I came here to Waynesburg to do, was play football, and that ended up not working out. And then Coach Mike Humiston here was gracious enough to give me a chance to play baseball, and I've taken every shot he's given to me, and hopefully this year it'll pay off. Finally having seniors graduate and spots open up. So we'll see how the season goes.
Do you feel comfortable at all, sharing us, your thoughts, what you were going through when you left football, and what may have
Yeah.
what may have pulled you out of football?
Well, the biggest thing was going from being recruited by defense by a guy that left the year that I came in. So like the guy that recruited me wasn't even here, and that was like a big thing. Because him being from my area and recruiting was like, okay, so like he knows the area, he knows what this is like, what that's like, and I could relate to him over any other school, because I got recruited by mostly D3 and some JUCO schools, some prep schools that were like, you have the size, let's just get you a little bit more added on weight and stuff like that. But I was like, I want to go where I can get a degree and play sports. And it was the sophomore year when they moved me from defense to offense. I found success early because I was learning everything new, and I was doing it. And then David Bobby coming back, that pushed me down. And then Matt Stansfield, the offensive coordinator at the time, him and I didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And at that point, I was like, schooling kind of takes precedent. He tried to talk me out of retiring from playing football. Shepis tried to talk me out of it. And ultimately, Shepis was like, I can't keep you here, and if you just want to focus on school, then focus on school. And I was like, okay. And then I had, at a time, I was battling with like, do I regret this? Do I not regret this? But at the end, it was more or less like, I think I made the right decision, and I think I made the right decision now. I mean, I miss it. I miss strapping on, tying the laces, going out there. But I think I miss the guys more than I do anything else, because the stuff you share through camp and all that stuff is stuff that no one else can really experience. You experience the highs, you experience the lows, you experience everything in between. So that was the thing I think I missed most. But out of everything, it was just I don't want to regret doing what I did, and I don't.
Well, I know it's really tough, walking away from something that you hold dear for several years, man. You play football in high school.
I played football. My first year playing football was fourth grade.
Fourth grade, So I mean, since you were younger, man, you were playing football all the way up through then, and finally, to walk away from something, and I know the circumstance was pretty unfortunate, but just tell me anything that you may have learned from football experience.
From football, definitely from Coach Shepis, I will say he learned if you make that decision, you stick with it and you face the consequences. And that's one of the biggest things I took away from him. And that's what, as much as maybe some people don't agree with him eye to eye and stuff like that, that's one thing I can say, is that if you ever need anything, he wouldn't hesitate to help. And that's the one thing I respect about the man, is that he is very people-oriented. He tells you how it is, but if you need help and you go to him, he'll give that helping hand. So that's pretty much what the biggest thing I think I could take away from playing here.
Why baseball?
Baseball was the first love. I've been playing baseball since I was 6.
Wow.
6. That was the thing. In high school, I grew up in more of a political high school, where if you don't know the right people, you don't really get to progress on anything. So I ended up playing my freshman year, and then after that, it was kind of like I wasn't going anywhere. And that's when volleyball happened. But I always played during the summers, and I was always one of the better kids in the leagues. But it was more or less here, it was getting back into the rhythm of things. Like over this past summer, I played in an adult league, so the kids that played in college and some minor league contracts and stuff like that, I got to play against these guys. And I ended up finishing the season hitting .350, led the team in RBIs, led the team in extra base hits. And I think walks and stuff like that. So it was more or less getting back in the rhythm from going from playing just football to not playing any baseball. So getting back into the rhythm of things, but it's starting to pay off. That getting in the gym always helps.
So as a kid, what influenced you to play baseball though? Like was it anyone around you that you looked?
It was when my grandmother bought me my first like wiffle ball set.
Okay.
And then I'd get dropped off at her house and babysat when my mom went to work, and then we'd just go in the backyard and play for hours. Like she would just toss to me, and I'd just hit the ball and run around. Like we made like makeshift bases in her backyard. So that was probably where it all started. And then my mom signed me up when I was 6, and from there it took off.
Yeah, and I know one thing. I played baseball. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but I played baseball only 1 year out of my life. At the time, my brother was really into baseball. Like that was his thing, you know. If it wasn't football and if it wasn't playing basketball on the street with me, it was baseball. He really loved it. And the friendships that he's had through baseball, it really attracted me, you know. And many of my friends played baseball, and they were like, "Yeah, come on, man, you should come on to the team." So where we were living, it was on the north side, Brighton Heights. And the team that I played for was Brightwood. And they had many different age groups. And of course, they had the Pony League as well. But I was playing for the 11 and 12-year-old group. And man, it was a fun year, man. Like it was my first time ever playing baseball competitively, and I got along with it pretty well. You know, and I played outfield, started outfield. And then my batting was terrible in the beginning.
Well, that was the first year.
Yeah. And then my pop took me and my bro out to, you know, for the batting cage, maybe only once. And I learned a lot, you know, batting at fast pitch speeds. What I got from the year, man, it's just a whole different atmosphere. It's different from football.
That's like football. It takes 11 people as a team. In baseball, 9 people have to play individually for the greater aspect of the team. So like, and it's that you have to count on, like in football, you have to count on everyone to do their job, but you can get away with one person like makes a slip up because there's 10 other people. With a baseball game, if one guy messes up, it could cost runs, it could cost games. Because missed outs turn to runs turn to wins, and that's taking advantage. And that was like the thing we've struggled with the most, is that we weren't taking full advantage of those opportunities to get extra outs and get runs until later in the season, but it was a little bit too late. So hopefully this year, ever since I've been here, we've had horrible spring trainings going down to Florida, playing good teams, just haven't been able to push out wins. Hopefully, I feel like this year could be different.
Yeah, because for those of you listening who haven't played baseball, I mean, it's not an easy sport.
No, it's the hand-eye coordination that goes in with it. The kid that probably throws the hardest on our team this year, he's a freshman, Mason Miller. He's throwing 88, 89, almost 90 miles an hour.
That's got nanoseconds to react to that. So, I mean,
and that's the thing is that you don't realize how quick your brain moves until it's already done.
When you're up at that plate by yourself, I mean, it's you versus them. I mean,
exactly.
You don't have your teammates up there or anything with you. It's just, can you hit the ball or not? That's
exactly. That's the fastest I've seen was last year in the scrimmage against West Virginia's like actual college team. And I came up to the plate, and their closer was in, and their closer throws 93, 94, 95 miles an hour. I blinked and I didn't see the ball once.
Threw some heat.
And that's all he did was throw heat. He didn't throw anything else. And I couldn't touch it because that's the fastest I've ever seen playing on a freezing, raining night. My muscles were tense.
Yeah, because not only you have to react quick, but you also have to have some strength in this too. So when did you get started in the fitness and realize that lifting was a huge part of the sport as well?
To be honest, I hated the weight room till I got here.
Yeah.
My high school, how my high school coaches ran it, it was god awful. It was just like no one liked it.
Yeah.
And that was like when I got here, and football was when I started to like it because they showed you what you should do, how you should do it, and what the results. I started falling in love with the results. And then when football came to an end and I went into baseball, it was more or less, I know I have to do this because then I'll be better. And then it's just falling in love with the process. And that's what I've started to do, is that I love where I'm heading. And I know at the end of that track is going to be a much better me in a sense. So it was more or less finally falling in love with the hard work. Because in high school, it's just more or less like either you had it or you didn't, and you could work, but it didn't really matter if you put in the work, because my high school was so political, and they already kind of had their starters and and their mind already. And then I was like, you know what? I like what I'm seeing. I like being stronger. I like being bigger. I like being faster.
Yeah.
And that's what for the listeners. For me, I'm not a small guy.
Yeah.
But I can move.
What are you about, like 6'2", 6'3"?
6'3", 254 when I weighed last weighed in.
Now, when you're lifting for baseball, are you specifically, like for your position, everything lifting more for strength or endurance?
For myself, it's for this year at least. Last year was more for strength. I was able to put 40 pounds on my bench in an off season. This year I got up to 315 during the summer, but now it's more or less doing more balance work. So more dumbbell bench, dumbbell incline bench, stuff like that, working the scapula. For myself, I'm lifting more or less to lose weight, but try to maintain the strength that I have while trying to tone up just a little bit. I mean, I'm not a kid that wants to have six-pack abs and stuff like that. If it happens, cool. If not, I just want to be a better, healthier person.
Hey, I'm going to piggyback on you when you said I enjoy lifting because of the results. You know, I agree because high school, I didn't start lifting until sophomore year of high school. Now, my first year, freshman year, I didn't play high school ball. I played midget league. I was still in the midget league. I was 14 years old. I was still able to play midget league. So I took that last year, and then I didn't lift then, but I started lifting my sophomore year. And so when I was lifting, same thing with you. We were just going through I was just going through the motions. Every workout, I was like, when is this going to end? Like, especially some of the things that we did. Like, I hated the burpees. I hated the mountain climbers. I hated the push-ups till you couldn't breathe no more. You know what I mean? Like, and me having asthma and you know, it really hurt me to the point where I was like, yo, like when is this going to stop? You know, I was waiting for it all to end. I wasn't waiting for the benefit or the fruit out of it. You know, that's what I mean. I wasn't looking forward to the results.
Exactly.
I was looking, you know, just to stop the pain.
Exactly.
And so I didn't really start enjoying lifting until I was telling Dee this my junior year. And the huge difference was I was working with my uncle over on the north side. And he had a gym, and he brought us in. We took, you know, a whole bunch of different athletes across the city. And the difference between, you know, being in a weight room at the school and being in a weight room over on the north side, it was the atmosphere. Like, the kids around me, you know, the competition. The exercises were the same. The workouts were the same.
But it's the atmosphere.
But it was the atmosphere. It was the music playing very loud. It was the guys pumping you up, keeping you up. My trainers, you know, keeping me up, keeping me motivated, keeping me focused. And I started to see a change within my body, within the way I lifted, in the way I exercised. And I started to see some results. Before I had a little chunky little, you know, little something. But then I started to, you know, it started to define. And so I'm like, these are the results I want. Like, this is what I'm getting. Like, this is what I like, you know? And so, yeah, like I'm right with you on that. Working out for the fruit of it, you know?
Yeah, that's what, for the listeners, a lot of people don't, especially you guys wouldn't know that Roomel and I played each other in high school. That's what.
Penn Hills, I went to
Penn Hills. That's what. And I'll never forget this. Was my sophomore year, and I cracked the lineup my sophomore year playing defense. And then junior year, I rotated in. Didn't get much playing time due to off the field reasons. And then my senior year finally starting again, and then it was Mr. Hester from Penn Hills. Put me on my back.
Tariq, the brother, or the bigger brother, or the younger brother?
The one that went to Toledo.
Trayvon.
Like, I was like in high school. I stayed like my sophomore year. I was 6'2", 220. And like they had me on the D line. Like I'm a typical like tight end kid. And they put me on the D line, and then they're like, they watched it happen. They're like, we got to get weight on you. So like I spent all that entire year just putting on weight. I ended up putting on like 25 pounds or something like that. Going into the next season, but that's what it took was him picking me up and putting me down. And then I like played against a lot of good kids. There was North Allegheny Kugler. Played against him. Played against a kid that walked on at Penn State, like in the in the preseason when we were doing scrimmages and stuff like that. So like I felt like I had the talent. It was just more or less I didn't have the ethic to go with it. And my high school coach, my senior year, I had 3 different coaches my high school career. Yeah. He's like, I wish I had you for one more year to develop you into the athlete you can be.
Yeah.
And that's what Shep has said the same thing to me. And then I kind of realized it hit me. I'm like, I can be much better than what I am.
Yeah.
And then that's when getting in the gym, falling in love with the results, that all came together.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your exposure to supplements and how you got into supplements.
It was in high school is when I started just taking straight protein, just trying to buff up. And then whenever I got here is when like I was getting the influxes of what other kids are taking and how they're bettering themselves. But for right now, all I take is a pre-workout, just a little bit of a nitric oxide booster, get more blood pumping, amino acids to break down the proteins. Yeah. I take 2 protein shakes a day. 2 protein shakes a day. Yeah. One in the morning, one before bed, and then the stuff I showed you guys yesterday was the photo greens. And what it is from Blackstone Labs. It's called Juiced Up, and what it does is it gives you all those essential fruit and vegetables that we don't get here all the time at school, so that I'm getting a full, well-balanced meal without having to deal with cold vegetables and stuff like that. Yeah. Plus, I've started pre-cooking my meals. Okay. On top of that, with some spinach and some green peppers up in the room.
Okay. So now, specifically with your pre-workout, for you personally, do you feel like you need pre-workout at this point?
At this point, no. I do it more or less to get more air to my blood. Yeah. And to get that better going. Which is, I have 2, technically I have 2, both from Redcon 1 supplements. So that, it's when the owner split from Blackstone Labs. They went and created their own. So what I got was one, it depends what I'm doing that day. For legs, especially like on Mondays and Thursdays, where I know the day's dragging, I'm going to use the one with the caffeine boost in it. Yeah. And then on Tuesdays and Fridays, where my days are only not that busy, I usually have class till noon, and on Tuesdays I have class till 11. I'll use the non-caffeinated one. So what it is, it does the same stuff. I just don't without all the caffeine. Yeah. So that it benefits itself. And then for the amino acids, I just take 2 scoops and drink it throughout the day. So I'm getting it throughout the day.
Because I know whenever I was taking pre-workout, like everybody listening, whoever lists probably has taken C4 at some time in their life, and like I got to a point, it was probably my senior year in high school, where I was probably taking 3 or 4 scoops up before I was even feeling any of it, and then I'm like, I'm just getting too much caffeine. I need to quit with that. And then one of my buddies who's up at Grove City introduced me to Bull Knox, which is like a test booster. And I tried that. At 1 scoop of that, I mean, I was going to do max that day.
Yeah, that's if I can feel myself not feeling anything from it, I switch. Yeah. The stuff I was taking before the stuff I'm taking now, which is called Total War, was called Psychotic. Yeah. And what that was, what was it? That was from Insane Labs. Yeah, they got stuff. I had to stop taking it though because the stuff in it was resembling too much of stuff that the NCAA bans. Yeah. And just in case if we would make a national tournament, I was like, I'm going to stop taking it now. Yeah. But I will say that's hands down the best stuff I've ever taken, because it was a pre-workout mixed with a thermogenic. Yeah. So I'm sweating more, burning more calories on top of getting the caffeine boost to get you ready. But I'm personally not a fan of like my head itchy, my face tingly. Yeah. I don't like if that does it. I like this stuff it literally said on the bottle, take half a scoop to figure out how much you can take. And I let Godwin use it. I like Reese use it. And both of them were like jacked up, like eyes dilated, like moving around. They look like thing 1 and thing 2. Yeah.
Jumping around.
Jumping around.
For me, I love that head scratching. Like I need that like to feel like it's working. Yeah. But like with the new stuff I had, like I didn't get that, but I felt like there was a pump coming. Yeah. But even like I was even taking 2 scoops of that, and then I just grew up a tolerance for that, and I went off it for like a year now, and like because I kind of like tricked my mind to think that I needed pre-workout to get a good pump, and I still kind of think that my best workouts do come from that. Yeah. But like right now, I've like gone cold turkey for like a month now, and it's tough, but I'm getting through the workouts. They're not as great as they can be, but it's tough without it. You get to teach your body how to do it without it, though.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm quiet over here, man, because I don't. I'm like y'all. Yeah, I don't take too much of the pre-workouts. I don't take it at all. Yeah, just the protein. Yeah, I was never introduced into taking pre-workout. Like as far as I never really had anybody influence me that much to say, hey, you know, you need to try it. Never looked at it as a necessity. I was always able to go into my workouts with enough energy to get through the day and to get the workout that I needed. But I still won't knock it because I haven't tried it.
Well, that's what I mean. I didn't take a pre-workout until I got here. And that was more or less because like I felt like I definitely needed that caffeine boost throughout the day, and I'd rather drink that stuff that also has the nutrients that are okay for your body rather than trying to drink soda and then go lift.
And see me, I like to know what's going into my body, and I would ask guys like, like what is that? Like what are you taking? And a lot of them couldn't explain the chemicals and the ingredients in these things. And I would see, you know, the consequences of guys taking this stuff. Like you said, they get real jittery and I didn't like that. You know, I didn't like that for my workouts. I mean, of course I like to be energized and fueled up, but I didn't like the artificial way of, you know, energizing your body. You know, there's a natural way of doing it.
That's what the Redcon One stuff, for the most part, all of their products are trying to use all natural products that boost it naturally. Besides the caffeine, which I mean, caffeine does come naturally. I'd have to read you guys a label, but whenever something has like methyl in it, I try to stay away from that because if you break it down, the chemical chain looks too much like methamphetamine. And if you get caught with that, you won't be able to go anywhere. So that's why I try to like stay away from those products that has those words in it.
Now, have you taken any pre-workouts with creatine in them specifically?
In high school, I did. My senior year, to put on a little bit more weight, I was taking creatine. But I quit taking that. I was like, I don't really need to put on more water weight. So since high school, I haven't taken a creatine. Now I was talking to Ian Bernanke, and Bernanke was like, I think if I would take a creatine now and just make sure I work it all the way out of my body, it'd be more beneficial. But I'm still kind of hesitant on it. Especially with like only a couple months left before the season starts, and lifting kind of gets toned down just to kind of like keep strength up, or to keep your strength rather than trying to build onto it. But I mean, for the last couple weeks, down 6 or 7 pounds as of when I last weighed in, I think on Monday, which is a slow process, but it's getting done. And I can start seeing like the difference in how my body looks when I get up in the morning, and how like clothes are fitting. And like now that like my pant legs are like too tight, which is a great feeling, but horrible for your wallet.
Absolutely.
We're just gonna wrap some things up soon, but lastly, I just want you to share if you have any tips for our audiences, tips along like the supplements, any beginners like that want to go out there and try some different things.
Depending on what they want to do. I've been telling kids now that are on the baseball team, I'm like, because that they want to get bigger, like they want to put on weight. And I'm like, taking just protein is fine, but I'm like, for you guys, you want to put on mass. I'm like, you guys need like mass gainers. And which mass gainers is that it's a different chemical protein, so that you get it's more grams so that you can bulk up. Where I just take whey protein, which is enough to keep your muscle and to help restore it. Because what happens is for you to get bigger muscles is that your muscles tear and they contract, and then they rebuild, and then they get bigger. But I've been trying to explain to kids, like, just take a mass gainer, just take it once in the morning or once at night, depending on when you want to take it. And that's what Reese did. Reese went from like 170 to 180 in a couple months, and he loves where he is now. He's looking good. If you can find a pre-workout that the caffeine, milligrams per caffeine, fits your body type. For me, I can handle a little bit more because I'm a bigger guy. For someone who's like 160 pounds, they should go low on it. I try to explain that to Godwin. Godwin learned his lesson. Also, BCAAs are always great amino acids. They give you the vitamins to help break down proteins and get all the nutrients to your muscles. But other than that, I just keep it simple. Oh, and also if you can't eat vegetables and fruits like we can't here, the Blackstone Labs juiced up is always a good one.
So if V8's not cutting it for you, you could go ahead and get that juiced up and get your veggies in.
It's V8 on steroids.
Well, there you guys have it. Just a couple tips from our guest today, Aaron Smith. You know, you guys got to learn a little bit about, his college life, senior year, and what's going on this baseball season, and how he got involved in lifting and supplements and everything.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back to discuss the criminal justice program here at Waynesburg University, our thoughts on police brutality and crime prevention. Stay tuned. Again, you're a criminal justice major, and we just want you to start off by just telling us a little bit about the program and
Program here at school.
Yeah.
The program here at school, led by Professor Adam Jack, who is one of the board members here of Greene County.
Yeah.
Also one of the lead investigators along the west coast or the west side of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Then we have also Professor James Tanda, retired ATF agent.
Okay.
We have Professor McClincy. He's a retired.
I don't know where he's retired from.
He was federal. I don't remember. I think he might have been IRS, a retired IRS agent.
Okay.
And then Dr. Bear, who's now the provost, but she was my law teacher.
Okay.
So she was a lawyer growing up, so that was pretty cool. But what we've been able to make this program out of here at Waynesburg University is a top 10 in the country for getting the most out of your education for the amount of money that you pay here.
Yeah.
Plus, we're one of the very few programs in the country to have laser shot.
Okay.
And what that is that's an interactive simulator.
Mm-hmm.
So they have thousands and thousands of different scenarios you can go through. You talk to the screen, they give you vocal feedback.
Mm-hmm.
The guns that we have actually give you kickback, so you learn to shoot with the recoil of the gun.
Yeah. And
then you learn to de-escalate situations and stuff like that. Okay. Local law enforcement come to our school here to practice on it.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that we have here that's so nice.
At what point were you like, I want to do criminal justice, and this is what I want to be involved with the rest of my life?
I wanted to make a change.
Yeah.
And with how a lot of stuff is ran now, like our prison systems are a joke. And that's the sad part is that prison is supposed to help you rehabilitate, because most offenders are drug related and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be there to help rehabilitate you so that you don't do this. And right now we're stuck in a just desserts era where if you commit a crime, you're doing your time and you're doing that's it.
Yeah.
Like you're just there to do your time,
not
to get better. Exactly. And if you want to get better, you personally have to take it upon yourself to go do that. But that's how you have a lot of people going back to prisons, because they never learned how to not do what they did in the first place.
Yeah.
So I want to make a change, and the only way to make a change is get involved.
Now, what specifically in the field do you want to do? Like, what job would you just be so happy with when graduating from it?
Personally, I wanted to do juvenile justice. I want to do juvenile probation, so I can stop kids that were like myself growing up from going down the wrong path in life and get them on the path heading towards a better future.
Yeah.
But I know it's hard to get a job where you ultimately want to be.
Yeah.
Especially with juvenile justice, they don't make very much money. But it's not as much for the money as it is changing lives. And I know after I graduate, I'm going to get a job wherever I can and take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter more of when than will.
Yeah. Have you had any internships while you've been here?
That's the sad part, is that I had two set up. My first one was a private investigation company back home that ended up going bankrupt 2 weeks before the semester ended and being bought out, and they didn't want internships at the time. The second one was with a police force back home that I don't know if the police chief was fired or retired, but the new police chief didn't want any interns at the time. So I kind of got the shoddy end of the stick. Yeah. But I mean, I pushed, like work experience, I have a lot of community oriented stuff.
Yeah.
But policing has been hard ones to find, because many areas around here, Waynesburg students can get on the western side of the PA, but in central PA, they don't do a lot of business here with schools. So it's a tit for tat kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, going back to how you said our prison systems are a joke and everything in the U.S., I mean, what do you think we could do to just prevent crime on the streets and everything, and really just get these kids in a better place, and just prevent innocent people being killed and just all these terrible things happening to our country these days?
The first thing to start is the education system. Poor education is what leads to most of the crime. The second is being less harsh on drugs, and what I mean is more marijuana based. yes, it's illegal drugs. Yes, it has harmful effects. People want to argue about it, but in the long run, it kills your lungs quicker, kills brain cells quicker, stuff like that. And it's more dangerous than cigarette smoke. But it is a non-natural substance unless messed with chemically. So I think if people want to do it, go ahead. The reason why it was illegal in the first place is because hemp was going to put the paper industry out of business. And at that time, nobody wanted that, so they had to legalize it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are going to jail, especially in states where 3 strikes you're out. So they could have just had 3 drug charges, and now they're sitting in prison for life.
Yeah.
And that's why we have overcrowding and stuff. That's why you see Barack Obama pardoning more drug dealers, because they got 40 years to life just for drugs because of how the states were cracking down on it. So I think the quickest way is fix education systems and make more rehabilitative services available in prisons.
Yeah.
We need to get out of that just desserts era, like I mentioned earlier, so that kids and people can realize, like, I don't need to keep doing this. And if you can better educate them, they move on and they don't keep doing it. So education is key in that aspect.
I have a question for you. Why kids and not your peers? Why not someone that's older than you or someone that's just as old as you?
Older than myself, I think it's more or less because older people don't want to listen to a younger kid because they're like, "What does this kid know?" I mean, I've tried. Kids, people like we say all the time. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So I can tell kids all the time, and tell older people all the time with this and that, this and that. But if they ultimately don't want to drink from the water, I can't force them to.
Yeah, it's ultimately their choice.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Okay, like I tell people all the time, I think a kid's mind is very easy to mold and shape. It's easier for a kid to be influenced than someone that is if they were an adult. If they're an adult, then they have their mind already set on something. They already have certain beliefs, and they're concrete.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to change that. And they're very stubborn. And they're very narrow-minded when it comes to that. So I can agree with you on targeting the juvenile rather than the adult. So
yeah, since criminal justice is something you want to spend pretty much the rest of your life with, and being in PA, I'm not sure if you've gone out of the state anywhere and observed anything, but what have you observed with like the police forces in Altoona specifically, and just throughout the rest of PA? I mean, even in Waynesburg, if there's anything that's going to surprise you or anything that you feel like they're doing a good job at, or
I know some states, Pennsylvania, Altoona especially, they had trouble with officers in the past being forgetting that they are people and kind of like taking that power given to them and going over top, abusing it. But I know as of right now, Altoona Police Department, they have a Facebook page that allows their citizens to get involved in searches and stuff like that, and knowing what's going on in the city, besides just reading it in the paper months later than after it happens. And I feel like community policing is key.
Yeah.
Is that you rely on the community to do your job, and if there's a distrust between the two, it makes it harder on everyone because a citizen isn't going to come to the police if something gets stolen because they're like, oh, what are they going to do? And that's where you start seeing violence is because, oh, I'm just going to take this in my own hands and handle it, and then you get murder and robbery and aggravated assault and stuff like that. So if you can have a community and trust with the police, everyone's lives are easier.
Yeah. I'm right with you on that. I was listening to ET's podcast, and CJ had mentioned one of the solutions that we need to consider is not having an officer that wasn't familiar with the community go ahead and take initiative in the issue. You understand what I mean? I think someone who is unfamiliar with the community is already frightened, already shook. You understand what I mean? So rather than having somebody who's already used to the community, already know the people within the community. You understand what I mean? So they can go down and see what Andrew that they've known for years. Hey, what you doing, man? Like, and they can kind of persuade them in a way to keep them from creating sort of any crime. But as opposed to anybody that doesn't know anything about the community, about the town, about the people that's in it. You understand what I mean? Like you said, there's no trust between the community and the officers. So yeah, that was huge.
I know, like in Altoona, you can stop by the police department at any time and just like give them a box of like those 50-count cookies from Walmart or something like that, and they'll just be like, thank you, and they'll give you like a shout out on Facebook. If kids come down, they let the kids like go check out the cars, stuff like that. Because if you can teach your young ones early that police aren't bad, they're here to help, and then it just makes all the lives easier. And we were talking about this in psych class with Dr. Carpathian here at school, that it's more or less the general teachings to kids that if you teach them that things aren't bad and they're good, they grow up thinking, okay, I can trust this, I can trust that. But whenever you have, you don't let kids like experience things because everyone's like, oh, police are bad, this and that, then you get that attention, and that attention just leads to the bad things.
Right. Now, branching off what Roomel was going off, I know me and him and a couple of people have had a conversation about just more training with police officers with like the amount of shootings and stuff we have that are like accidental, or maybe like, for example, like if someone was just pulled over for a stop sign or something, but like the officer thought he was threatened and shot the person for something like that. What do you think we have to do to kind of limit those things from happening? Or like he was saying about having unfamiliar officers in specific neighborhoods that another officer might be more familiar with. Like, what do you think we have to do, training wise, if that is one of the options, or make these officers more familiar not to be threatened by the situation, maybe just by the officer or the assailant being white or black?
Well, yeah, with that is you can always be better trained at something. You can always be better at something. The big issue is now that law enforcement agencies are correcting are college credits in criminal justice fields.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you could just have your high school education and that be that. Where now, like, I come here, get my 4-year degree, practice on the simulator, not putting myself in actual danger, but learn how to de-escalate situations, when to shoot, when not to shoot, what's a good shoot.
Yeah.
Like, that's good. Like, even here, like in the hostage situation, they're like, you don't always have to shoot, try to de-escalate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think it is situation by situation basis because we aren't in that officer's shoes.
Absolutely.
And accidents happen.
Yeah.
But what isn't acceptable is when, like, the Minnesota officer last year shot an unarmed man running away from him who just happened to be black, and he did it, and then he tried to like lie about it.
Yeah.
And that isn't acceptable. I don't think that's a training thing. I think it's the power going to the head, because this officer also had multiple run-ins with abuse of power.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very slippery slope when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Is when you get that power, you get that gun, you get that badge, and you have some authority over people, it gets to people's heads.
Yeah.
And if you stray away from what you got into policing for the first part, like for me, it's to make changes to make this place better.
Yeah.
Make people less afraid of officers, be willing to come to us when something happens rather than take it into their own hands. And that's where the run-ins are. And as much as like we talked about it before, everything wants to be racial now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Is there racial tension? Yes. It's more or less because the people in power now are the same people that when the segregation and in rights and stuff like that, the rights activists, they're still in power.
Yeah.
Like they aren't done yet. Like the baby boomers and stuff like that. And this is even said about our generation now, is that we're much more understanding. We're much more compassionate. We don't judge people as much. And I feel like if we can keep on that trend, then in 20 years we're going to be a better country overall.
Yeah.
But it is the generational gap between older and younger kids where we don't see eye to eye. Because I know even like whenever gay rights were first accepted by the Supreme Court, my mom and I had an hour-long argument over. I'm like, Mom, it doesn't matter to me. Like if they want to get married, they want to get married, and that's that. It doesn't affect us. We don't pay for it. It doesn't affect our tax money.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand why this should bother you. And it's like that biblical way.
Yeah.
Is that people are like, I don't agree with that.
It's supposed to be this way. That's
and I'm like, but Mom, the most interpreted book in the world is the Bible. I'm like, it's how you look at it. And then once she finally like listening to our pastor, and she's come to realize like it doesn't matter to us.
Yeah.
Like if you're gay, you're gay. If you're straight, you're straight. If you're a guy, want to be a girl, if a girl want to be a guy, that's fine. That's you.
Yeah.
That's how you feel.
We're not meant to judge. Yeah.
Exactly. It isn't our spot to say you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've been doing the last 150 years is telling people you can't do that.
Yeah.
Time for a change is to start telling people you can do it.
I'm not sure if you would know the answer to this specifically, but like with police academies and everything going in now, like due to this, do you think they're just not getting enough? Like, because like you said here, we have an awesome criminal justice program. You guys practice shooting guns and go through hundreds of scenarios. Do you think there's less of that going on in actual police academies where they're not running through enough scenarios? Or because I know me and Roomel have talked about this, a lot of officers, their first instinct is to pull a gun instead of, kind of control the situation. I can understand if they're threatened by somebody else with a gun, but I mean, an officer has his gun, he has a taser, he has a baton. I mean, are they not like taught to fight? Are they just taught to do certain things?
There's certain levels that they have to go through. There's peaceful. There's like, correct. It's been a while. There's peaceful, and then it just kind of escalates from there. For the most part, you never want to get to lethal force.
Yeah.
Ever. If you can de-escalate it. But with nowadays, how people are becoming more capable of concealing weapons, it's harder.
It's harder, yeah.
Because you could stop someone at a traffic stop, walk up, and they already have their gun drawn and pointed at you. And you can do all the scenarios you want, but until you're in those shoes
and live action,
it's hard because now you're we talk about baseball. You got to be your brain's doing a lot of thinking. And in less than 0.3 of a second. Same thing goes with officers. Like that's the one kid getting shot because he had one of those vape boxes and he pulled it up real quick. Yeah. And that's just the thing is that you see something black relatively big coming straight from someone's hip. It's quick decision making. Yeah. That's the issue is that it's hard to make that decision at that time. Like for me to just or even like with the airsoft guns where people it wasn't a real gun, but if it's
looks like it,
exactly, and you point it at a police officer, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are going in the right issues. They're taking a more of a educational aspect now with law enforcement where you learn more. Yeah. So that you don't have incidents with this.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said before, you can always get better with things.
Also,
I was saying, do you think some of these simulations should they be more lively? Like, should they be more live? You know what I mean? More random, more. I'm talking about the officer not knowing it's a stage, it's a setup, not knowing that they're being watched, that it's a scenario. You understand what I mean? Not knowing that it's a simulation.
Okay, so you want
because the officer does know it's a simulation. He knows he can't technically get killed or get harmed.
You can go through step by step. Yeah. I mean, that could be an option where you have you say I mean, it's kind of hard when you're in the law enforcement training thing that you are going to have scenarios. I mean, if you take a day where you just take a certain amount of officers and kind of do maybe it's hard. It's hard to say it's not a thing. Maybe give them instead of real guns in that aspect, but give them maybe airsoft guns or stuff like that, or paintball, so that you can work on using your words rather than turning to guns. Right. But in that aspect, it's hard to do. Yeah. And I wish there was a set answer, but with law and criminal justice and stuff like that, everything's always changing because there's new ways. Now you can 3D print a gun, not have any metal on it, and it gets right past the metal detector, and you could and do damage with it. Yeah. Luckily, they have those blueprints now, and they're doing the legal battle with the company, but nonetheless, it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah. Now studying psychology as well, do you think there has to be more mental preparation and training maybe possibly done in the academies?
Yes. You can always be better mentally prepared for anything.
Yeah, because not knowing much about what goes on in the police academy and everything they're going through, I wasn't sure if they took certain tests or maybe went through simulations mentally as well to help them figure out certain situations.
They have whenever you finally get accepted, you do a psycho
analysis. So
that your mentally state, your mental state is well enough for you to be there, but a lot of it is paramilitary kind of thing, the training wise, hand-to-hand combat stuff like that. Isn't to the full aspect of the military, but what their military is expected to police abroad. Our police are here to police on our soil. Now, do I think it needs to get that far? No.
Yeah.
I think things can be fixed, but the right people have to be put in place.
Mm-hmm.
And like just talking democratically or politically, I feel like the party systems we have, neither one care.
Yeah.
We're a country for the people, by the people, and we're supposed to be meant for the people. And I think we've strayed away from that.
Yeah.
These last 30, 40, 50 years. If we can get someone back to that where they're doing things for the people, everything will be better. Because no one was complaining when business was good and money was flowing and everyone was fine. But as soon as like money starts going, we're importing more than we're exporting and stuff like that, and poverty areas start coming up. That's the issue. Like Detroit used to be a great city.
Look at it, it's run down now.
And look at it now. It looks like crap.
Yeah.
And we need to start getting back to those. But it's a tit for tat. When you start doing that, then you have to ease up on environmental issues so companies can come back.
Yeah.
And there isn't one set in stone answer, and I wish there were.
Yeah.
But something's got to give.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like any side wants to do that. So hopefully, maybe President-elect Trump can figure something out. He says he's for the people. I don't know.
Find out.
This presidential race wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
But it still is what it is.
Yeah. Now, the last topic I wanted to bring up, based on this subject, is kind of something that might not have a, specific answer or anything, much like law enforcement and everything might not have just one answer, but kind of just an answer maybe to help improve things. Like comparing like the military and kind of police enforcement, like with the military, like they have specific like rules of engagement they have to follow by, like unless they're shot at or face some sort of physical threat, they can't intervene with the enemy. Now, I feel like with police, like they should probably have the same set of rules as well too. But I feel like there's more killing and stuff going on here than maybe like a select, SEAL team might be doing over in Afghanistan or something. So do you think we have to like enact, like the same set of rules and engagements, or just something more stricter so there's not more innocent kids?
The sad part is police do have that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what is being strayed away from it. It definitely doesn't help with like the amount of drugs that are now in the U.S. That make people like PCP, where you take it and you're literally superhuman, and there's nothing you can do about it until you come off the drugs. In cases the Tulsa incident with the police shooting the man that was just stuck on the side of the road because his car broke down, but ended up being high on PCP. Yes, the Army has the rules of engagement where they have step-by-step process of how things work. And police have that, and I don't know if it's more or less strayed away from it than we have in the recent past, but I definitely think you need to start kind of like playing it out in your head as it works, because you can kind of foresee things happening as they play out. And if you can not get to a situation, don't. But if that situation goes there, then do what you have to do. Officers are shot to shoot the threat until it's down, and like I said, it's a slippery slope when it comes to things with that aspect, especially with you could be sitting there at a routine traffic stop, and you get the guy's information, turn back around, and he has a gun pointed at you, shooting at you, and it doesn't help that a lot of the issue is that, like I said, rehabilitation. People are just, I don't want to go back to jail. They'd rather shoot, kill themselves, stuff like that, instead of just realizing I shouldn't be doing this. But whenever you grow up with a life full of crime, it's kind of hard to stray to make that change. But to answer your question full on, there isn't really one answer, like you said. But maybe stricter rules of engagement, I guess, would be, and better de-escalation of system of like situations.
I mean, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, you gotta think about it. Like some of these cases, man. I shouldn't even say some, many.
A lot of
almost all of them. These cases are of people being unarmed and being shot, not just once, but being shot plenty of times.
Well, that's where it comes into like your adrenaline. You don't know how many times you shoot until you're done, and you count how many bullets there are, and you're shot to shoot till the threat's down. Now, what they perceive as a threat is that person at that time, and I can't personally say that. That's why I don't go putting my opinions out on public space and social media and stuff like that, because it's not my job to say. I let the facts play out as they were, and then as the facts play out, you surely as hell see news start following it less and less and less, and then whenever they realize, oh, this is a good shoot, like the Ferguson case of Michael Brown, where everyone's like, oh, Michael Brown's this happy-go-lucky kid, but nobody knew at the time that he was slinging drugs and he was in a gang, and he actually attacked the officer at the time. He never shoot the guy from behind. He just got done with a strong-arm robbery. He literally robbed a guy just for 2 cigarlos. Instead of just paying the $1.50 or $2 or whatever they are, he literally beat the guy up for him. And then like this guy was aggressive, but everyone saw what the news portrayed him as, and his family wanted to portray him as, and then everyone's like, that's not who he was. He was very aggressive, very mean-mannered, and the fact that he could have just, everything would have been avoided if he would have listened to the officer that day, Officer Wilson, when he said, just get on the sidewalk. And that's where the tension comes in. Because I can sure as hell tell you that no officer ever wants to shoot someone, ever. Because you're taking a son, a father, a brother from family. Exactly. And that's the worst feeling in the world. Most officers don't even continue being officers after they shoot someone. And that's just, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts me, and I haven't even done it yet. Because like I feel for these people as a psych major wanting to help these people, but also being stuck on the other side of the bridge of like seeing this firsthand back home, and that's what making the difference is. So as of late, there's been more unarmed shootings, but as the situation plays out, there's more information that gets developed. So that's why I try to wait till the full story's out. But some of them are just inexcusable. And that's the issue, is that it's inexcusable and they get away with it. And it's just like a slap on the back of the hand. Like, what the hell's going on? Like Freddie Gray in Baltimore, the guy in New York, that all he did was trying to sell cigarettes on the street, which is illegal. But how they went about it was the wrong way.
And I think that's why we brought up the question: is there better training? Can the training get any better?
Like, you understand what I mean? Can more money into these programs or anything to help?
Well, that's the issue. Is we don't have the money to do it. And I mean, like I said, you can always train someone to be better. But once a situation plays out, you can have all the training in the world, and it still might be the situation where the event is what you want it to be at.
I just think the main thing is we just need officers not to reach for their gun first, and just the basic situation. For example, I mean, honestly, we don't know what the situation's gonna portray or anything like that. We don't know what's gonna happen, and obviously, we're not in their shoes, so it's just us, saying what we believe and not actually being in their shoes. But I just think there are too many officers who reach for their gun first instead of trying to maybe escalate the situation. But I mean, like, if you're just sitting there talking to a kid, there's no reason you need to have your gun out. Just like get out the street, get back in your house. If you have drugs on you, there's no reason to go to that.
That's the thing. Like, people are getting in these conflicts with police officers over a dime bag of weed.
Exactly.
And that's the issue, is that shouldn't be the issue.
Somebody's son doesn't need to die just because.
Exactly. And maybe more tase is always better. But with some of these drugs, these guys don't feel it. Like PCP, you won't feel a damn thing. You're literally superhuman until you come off that high. So there isn't one answer, and I wish there were.
Like with a lot of the stuff we talk about, there's not really one answer. But I just think overall, in America, I just think, I mean, it goes on both sides, because us as people need to respect cops as well. Because I know there's a lot of people that don't. I mean, they'll try and go after and make jokes toward them and everything, and really try and escalate the situation themselves before a situation is even there. But I just think people just want to feel that they're protected. And I feel like in our country right now, when cops are around, people would rather run than feel like they're protected. I think that's the notion right now. But that's where we currently stand in the country. But it's a sad place, but hopefully we get there one day. Hopefully with what you're doing in this world and more people like you, we can finally get there. But that's all we have for this topic. I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of what we had to share with Aaron and what he had to share with us as well. We're going to take a little break and come back. Just say our goodbyes to Aaron. Thank him for being on the show, and just leave you guys off with some motivation for the rest of your week, and just leave you guys with something to really take home, and just do the best you can be, and be nice to others, and make this world a better place. So we'll be right back after this short, brief message. You are listening to Ramble On with Roomel and Derek. Stay tuned for our motivational minute.
things up with a motivational quote from each of us. For you guys, I'm going to start out with mine. This is from a book by Dan Millman, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. And it goes like this. There are no accidents. Everything is a lesson. Everything has a purpose. Let the pain purify your mind and body. A warrior doesn't seek pain, but if pain comes, he uses it.
That's deep.
Yeah, that's real
deep right
deep.
there.
That's deep, man. I mean, I love that quote.
Shout out to that book.
Shout out to that book, man.
What was that book called?
Way of the Peaceful Warrior.
Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman.
I got you, man.
Oh, you got that book? Oh,
right there on his desk.
I might have to read that.
Yeah, eventually we'll have some videos of the podcast. We'll start recording videos for the episodes
Some book reviews.
Yeah, some book reviews. So you guys get to see our setup, and we'll take a little tour around our dorm here. And the one thing me and Derek do have in common is books, man. We love to read. So, but yeah, man. That quote. What you guys think about that quote?
I like that.
I mean, the whole thing about pain and everything, I feel like so many people can't deal with it in our world today. Like, they take pain as such a negative thing or failure in life, but you need that.
Right.
I mean, there's so many people we talk to on a daily basis that, like, the littlest ounce of pain, they shut down. That's it. You're in the weight room. It hurts. I'm out.
Right.
Like, don't run from it, especially in the weight room. Like, you have to feel some type of pain before you can go through that growth and struggle and get bigger.
Right.
In life, if you lose a loved one, sorry about that, but you have to grow through that pain. I mean, everything happens for a reason in life, whether or not you've got your mindset to that specific point to understand that. But I mean, anything that happens, you break up with somebody, you lose a friend or something, they went another way, that's good. You have to go on your own path at some point in life. So I just think that our generation, specifically with people our age, are definitely just too sensitive, and they really just need to, get that edge and realize that, pain is great.
Right.
You got to fail forward.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
And that's the name of the book you read now.
Failing Forward. It's the name of the book I'm reading right now.
John Maxwell, right?
John C. Maxwell. Yep. A lot of good reads there. But that's what I think. I just think a lot of people are just too sensitive nowadays. They really just need to hone in on something, find something they're passionate about, and use that each and every day to get past that pain and keep moving towards their goal. It's
just like we were talking about earlier, man. I was telling you, what discouraged me with working out was the pain that I was enduring.
Yeah.
I wasn't fond of it. Doing the abs, I wasn't fond of the pain that I was feeling in my stomach. It hurts. You understand what I mean?
That end reward is worth it.
It was worth it. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, look at yourself now.
I got a little something right now. I'm still working on it. Yeah. But yeah, it was the pain that scared me away. That scared me away from the gym. But it was the realization that, hey, this is only temporary. Yeah. Like, if you ever notice when you're doing sit-ups and it's hurting for a while, and when you stop, that pain goes away real quick. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's sort of what I'm talking about. The pain is only temporary, but it's for the greater good.
Absolutely.
You understand what I mean? Everything has a purpose, and I just want people out there to really, really understand that things got to get ugly. It's gonna get ugly before it gets pretty.
Absolutely.
If you want to get somewhere in life, it's not gonna be pretty in the beginning. You're gonna have to grind. You're gonna have to work at it, and just to build that foundation. Things get muddy. People build on the house and it looks ugly at first, but it comes out, to be a really nice home. So, that's just a cool quote from me.
Well, let me piggyback off you. I got two. Kind of go with what you were saying. To go with what you were saying. This one is by Wendell Phillips. He was a lawyer back in the 1850s. He was an abolitionist. So he was trying to abolish stupid laws towards minorities and stuff like that. And this is actually probably one of my most favorite quotes is, "What is defeat? Nothing but education. Nothing but the first step to something better." And I feel like nowadays is that people think that losing isn't acceptable. Yeah. But losing can sometimes be more beneficial than winning. Grow. Exactly. You learn from it.
You spend your entire life winning. Like, we were talking about this, with relationships, specifically. Like, if you don't have a fight during your entire relationship, or you go in your entire life where you're just winning, once you get that loss or you have that first fight, you shut down. And you don't know how to deal with it.
And to kind of go from there, by the captain, Derek Jeter, there may be someone with more talent than you, but there's no excuse for anyone to work harder than you.
Absolutely.
That piggybacks off you some more.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. I'm not the most talented kid, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to outwork.
You'll work harder than anybody else in that gym, yeah.
So we was just talking about the other day, man. Like you when you're out and you're working in the gym, or you working on your career, or you working in the classroom, you gotta understand there's other people out there competing with you.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? You gotta understand that there's people on your boat, but they're fighting harder than you.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Like,
you don't want to go a day just thinking, hey, like, man, there's somebody out there working harder than you.
Yeah.
Like, how does that make you feel? You understand what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I try to explain to like these young kids on the team is that I'm like the Grove Cities, the Thomas Moores, the WJs, the St. Vincent. I'm like, do you think these guys are missing lifts, missing meals? I'm like, they're working as hard, if not harder, than we are.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you guys want to see the postseason, to make it to the national tournament, to win the conference title, I was like, I haven't won a single title ever in my entire athletic career.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm telling you right now, I sure as hell don't want to go out a loser.
Right. You're hungry now.
I was like, you love the work, you love the results.
Yeah.
The results don't come without the work.
Yeah. This isn't the quote I was going to use, but just something on my mind based on the quotes you guys had. It's Mark Cuban we were talking about the other day. But you have to work as if someone is working 24/7 to take that all away from you. Mm-hmm. Whether or not you're face to face with this person who may or may not be working harder with you, you're still fighting that battle, and you know you need to work as hard as if there is actually someone working 24/7 to take it all away from you. So I just believe if you do that, you could. Sky's the limit. You could go wherever you want to go with
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Especially nowadays, where like everyone has an excuse.
Yeah.
Like for me,
always.
On my Monday class, listeners, this is Mondays. Class at 9, 10, 11, 12, lunch, hit the gym before I go tutor kids at the after school program here in town at Troubled Youth, and then straight from there to dinner, from dinner to night class till 9.
No excuses.
And I never miss my lift.
You're still putting your stuff.
I never miss my lift, and then I'll either go hit after class, or if I have a little downtime, I'll go hang out with my girlfriend. Got to give her a little bit of attention, but there's no excuse to never miss something that you want to work hard for.
And one of the things I find the funniest with that is like people that aren't winning at life have so many reasons that like hate on people like you. Like, why do you wake up early to work out, or why are you going through your entire day, and why are you doing this? Like, if you are asking me that question, I know for a fact that you don't want to win at life. If you're asking me why I'm waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning to work out, I know you want to be average the rest of your life, and that's perfectly fine. Don't try and take that away from me. I don't need to explain why I'm getting up this early. I have a why and a passion I'm trying to accomplish and reach a point in my life, and I'm going to do everything I can, whether or not I have a full day or nothing going on. I'm going to make the most of my time.
That's it. Like over the summer, the guys I worked with, I worked in a construction company, and I'd work from 6 to 4:30.
Yeah. And
if I didn't have a baseball that day, a baseball game, straight to the gym. If I did have a baseball game, straight to the baseball game.
Yeah.
If I had time after the baseball game, I get a light lift in after the game to get the lactic acid out, and wake up the next morning 6 a.m. to do it all over again. And they'd be like, that means you're not working hard enough at work. I'm like, no. I was like, I'm working hard enough just to be better than you. And they kind of got offended at that, but I'm like, I'm not here to make friends.
Yeah. I think the issue with people is they do all these things not for themselves, but as a show, like as for attention.
Yeah,
you understand what I mean? People putting a lot of these things on Instagram for a lot of people to see. You understand what I mean? But they're not really looking for the sole reason why they're doing it. You understand what I mean? And if that's the reason, then it's sad. It's sad for me to work out and try to show it off, to the world. Exactly. I'm not doing this for you. This is for me. I want my body to look good. I want my body to feel great. You understand what I mean? This is why I'm doing. This is why I'm waking up 5:30 in the morning, doing what I got to do. You understand what I mean? So it's not to attract or to impress. This is how I want to live my life.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? I think people are too busy, worrying about what other people are thinking around them.
Absolutely.
You understand what I mean? They're too busy, what is he thinking of me? What does he say about me doing this or doing that?
I feel like people let their egos get in the way.
And I definitely think a lot of people, specifically I just don't know what the definition of grinding actually is. Like, I see so many people who are grinding on Twitter and Instagram, like, I'm up at 6 a.m. or they're just putting up a video of their workout or something like that.
Yeah.
If you really want to see who was grinding during 2016, you go back, look at those profiles and see where they're at in 2017. See if everything they were tweeting and putting on IG.
Right.
look at their results right now, you'll actually know if they were grinding or if they were just talking about grinding on social media.
Right.
That's what I mean. I give my roommate Tyler Reese, who will be on a future podcast,
a lot of credit.
I give him a lot of crap, but I give him a lot of credit. I tell him he's hands down one of the hardest kids I've ever played ball with, worked out with, and that's what, like, I told him. I said, I don't like where I'm at right now, but I'm like, but I know we can get there together, and that's what we have been. Him and I are constantly pushing each other, finding better workouts, better ways to do things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at the point, like, I'm not a skinny kid, but if my core strength is well enough to where I can do planks suspended from the TRX bands with my legs up, trying to keep my balance, and there's kids that are skinnier than me struggling just to do regular planks, like, there's an issue here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting here doing regular planks for a minute with a 45 on my back, trying to keep my balance from swaying, and these kids can't even keep their bodies up.
There's levels, and I think that's another reason. People think that they're at the end, like they've reached the peak. There's no peak. Like, you understand what I mean? There's always people working. There's always ways of doing things. There's always levels. You'll never reach that top level where you master something. You understand what I mean? There's always different ways. Like you were saying, there's always different varieties on how to do a plank.
Absolutely.
And people think they done a sit up and that's it. No, there's a way of putting your feet up and doing a crunch. There's a way of keeping your feet up and swaying it side to side.
That's what, like, I've tried to have these guys, like my other roommate Tyler Godwin, having the bad hamstrings. I was like, you know what? Let's start using the TRX bands more, not just for body flies, but like we need to start using more of it for leg stuff. And so what you do is you put your legs in the TRX band, you're laying flat on your back, and you're bridging yourself up, but all you're using is your hamstrings. And I'll tell you, never felt any worse in my legs than after doing that. But nobody wants to put in that effort to look for it, to find different variations.
They just see what everybody else is doing, like, oh, that's good enough. Let's just keep doing what the regular.
Exactly. And the worst aspect, like kids our age, treating these other kids the same way that they're treating themselves. And like, if you want to, you want to.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. They're not teaching. They're just telling what they think.
Exactly.
And I think going off, the environment in a gym and everything too. Like, I feel like there's so many people who are just consumed with what they're doing, and they think they have to be better than all these other people instead of helping people. Like, I have no problem with people, newcomers coming into the gym and people helping them out. That's great. Everybody's on a journey, help them get there if that's something you want to do. But I mean, there's people who are just so stuck up and snobbish in the gym and like, nah, I'm too big. You're not allowed to lift with me. Like, stuff like that. Like,
well, that's what I mean. You've seen it firsthand with me in the gym when I'm in there. I'm literally, if I see you and I know you, even if I don't know you, I'm gonna like, let's do this, do this. There'd be times where he was doing a workout and I was like, Derek, come do bicep curls with me.
Right.
And that's what we sat there and knocked out three sets with the fat bar, getting the forearms in. If I can incorporate you in the lift to try to push you while pushing myself, I'll find a way.
Yeah, I was just 10 chest and he came over. You done with that set? I'm like, yeah, you'll come over here, hit some biceps. I'm like, let's do it. Just get involved with it. I mean, like, it's a community in the gym. It's not you by yourself. I mean, if you want to make it that way, you can be, and you'll be on that journey by yourself. But if you want to have a solid group of guys around you and get some solid work done, because, I mean, when you have a partner in the gym or multiple people with you, that's when you really see some gains. So you could push that extra amount and have people there for you.
I could definitely tell you, like you said, man, I think that's we need to have more of that. We need to have more of a community,
the camaraderie.
And where we are and what we're doing to progress ourselves with this podcast. I mean, we need more people come joining in and saying, you know what, I see what you got going on. Let me give you a tip, or let me give you some advice, or let me do this, let me do that. Or instead of shutting people out and being exclusive, we should be more inclusive. Bringing people in. Like, we weren't hesitating to bring you in on the show. You understand what I mean?
So I wasn't hesitant to say yeah. That's what, like, I like doing these things. If I can just change one person's
that's all that matters.
aspect.
Like, if there's only one person that listens to this podcast, it would make my day just to know that one person was changed or moved by this.
Exactly. Or care enough to want to listen.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I know sometimes, we might talk a lot or ramble on per se. But I mean, we're talking about what we love. We're with people, we enjoy and having company with. But I mean, it's truly solid content we're dishing out. And if you're willing to be on this journey and really listen during the whole thing and have everything we have to say, I mean, props to you. We appreciate each and every single person that listens onto this, whether it's one person or 1,000. It doesn't matter. If we could change one person each day, I'd be satisfied the rest of my life doing that.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I really do appreciate anybody listening right now. Like you heard it from the past episode. Me and D, we was just talking day in and day out. We just talking for like we lost track of time.
Yeah,
we were just talking for 2, 3, 4 hours straight. I knew he had to be up early in the morning. He knew I had to be up early in the morning. But it didn't. Not once did it cross our minds. Hey, we got to get up in the morning and stop. Nah, man. And we just it was just so natural.
And we weren't skipping a workout either.
And we were exactly. And we were embracing just that moment with each other, man. Like I remember the first few days we barely talked.
Yeah.
We barely had a nice conversation about each other. About anything. So we finally opened up, and then we were like, yo, like. This have you realized we've been talking for a good 5 hours straight?
It's a long time, yeah.
Just about everything, and not just anything, but bro, some deep stuff.
There's not enough of that in our world.
Some stuff that we think that many people need to hear, and that's why we came up with this podcast. So again, thank you so much for tuning in.
I still got my quote to get. I forgot about it since we.
Oh yeah. I thought you gave out your quote. Go ahead.
We rambled on a little bit too much there, but yeah. So I know I gave a couple quotes during this, but the one I wanted to share was from some 10 motivational quotes for students, and it's you can't have a better tomorrow if you're still thinking about yesterday. And just like going off of everything. I mean, I just feel like there are so many people that dwell in the past and are like. This happened to me last week, man. I can't get through with that workout today. What? What do you mean? That happened last week. That better be outside of your head. I mean, with sports, lifting, relationships, whatever it is, that has to be in the past. I mean, God put us here to live in the present, not the past or look for the future. I mean, it's, all right to know where you want to go in the future and have that goal for the future, but you don't need to look forward to it. You need to live in this moment right now. Do everything you can to get that future going. You don't need to live in the past. Like, I'm not thinking about anything I did yesterday, anything that happened to me that was awful or anything that's happened to me previously in life. I'm not letting that affect what I'm doing today. So I think that's an issue that we face in our world today where a lot of people dwell on the past. And I feel like we have to get over that hump to help more people be successful as well. So I think that was a good quote to end the night on. But, more people just need to live in the present and follow their dreams and go for it, man. Just make things happen.
I'm with you on that, man. Like for sure. I think people should. And I told you this before. I think people should really assess themselves every day. Like instead of waiting 2 days later to think about what you did 2 days ago. You understand what I mean? You need to really assess yourself.
That's what I tell people all the time. When you dwell in the past or look forward to the future, you miss what's in front of you right now.
Exactly.
That's what, that's the thing is that I've learned to live in the now and quit caring. Like baseball, you have to have the shortest mindset. If you strike out in the first at bat, it's another bat.
Sure,
exactly, It's another opportunity.
And I think, especially kids our age, is that they don't know how to do that. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to don't anticipate the future and don't dwell in the past. And I feel like once we can figure that out as citizens, as a community, I feel like everything will be better.
Set the world on fire with that, man.
I could tell you that's one thing I did learn from the football program. Our coaches constantly kept telling us, next play, short memory. Do your job. And then after the play was over, short memory.
It's the same thing with basketball, too. It's the shooter's amnesia, man. You forgot about your last shot, whether it went in or it didn't.
Exactly.
Forget about it.
Exactly. And I think people should really, really start, like I said, assess yourself each day. That way you don't, spend the next day thinking about what you did before. You done already did that. That night. You understand what I mean? So put it in the past. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from what you gained out of the day, and then move on. Like I said, it's very essential. Very essential. So
before we sign off, give me one word from both of you. One word that you just want to give out to the viewers that's crucial in becoming successful.
Focus.
What about you, Aaron?
Failure. You build on failure.
I would have to stick with discipline. I've been a strong person for discipline. I think you have to have some discipline.
Well, there you have it. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron Smith, for coming on to the podcast for us, man. Yeah, it was great having you, man. We talked about plenty of things and some things that you opened up. I never really thought, be discussed with you. You know what I mean? Like as far as
You just talk to people, it opens a whole new world. Man.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it happened the same with me and D. Like,
Yeah.
me and D, we didn't really know much about each other. We playing pickup games.
Yeah,
And all we said to each other, hey, good play or good pass. And next thing you know, I'm in his room the one day and we talking for a good 3, 4, 5 hours. And he done went through some things I never would have imagined.
Exactly. That's like I said, you learn more when you listen.
Yeah.
Talk to new people and don't judge.
You learn more when you listen.
Yeah.
Well, people, guess what? When you listening to this podcast, you learn it. You learn it, and we look forward to having you in the future. Continue to tune in. Continue to leave your comments, your suggestions, your reviews. We really do appreciate that, and we're going to take that in consideration. Thank you so much. Roomel here.
This is Derek signing off, and our guest, Aaron Smith. Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks, guys.
There you have it. Another episode of Ramble On with Roomel and Derek is in the books. Thanks for tuning in. But be sure to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes.